Ooh.
Oh, okay. Do tell.
Objection from your...
I disagree. Yeah, unfortunately, I think he's no longer the best jungler in the world. I think Kyle TZ holds that now. I think it's just, unfortunately, not his meta. He can obviously still adapt and fix it, but I feel like a lot of the things that happened when he did lose out these red trees, did lose out in these positions as well, it was a battle of setup, man. The Onic that we saw at MSC, the Onic that we saw that were on the Golden Road, they had that advantage almost every single time to facilitate Kyrie. And now they're slowly losing that.
I guess we'll see if they get it back. As we welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to the drafting phase of game number 1 in this best of 3 series, presented to you by the official tournament smartphone Samsung Galaxy. These bands are coming through real quick, and Geek get the first pick.
They get the first pick, and they're banning away a lot of teams that kind of perform independently. Whereas for Onic, they're banning a lot of these team play, setup, engage kind of heroes. And I mean, they're putting a lot of respect on Beloyski for sure, banning away the Mathilda and the Gwyn for that flex potential, but also that Nolan though. And for Geek, that's going to be that flex Ruby pick. It's a bit of a signature for Beloy in a way, but we've seen that sometimes it kind of puts you in a tough spot later on when you're trying to flex it around.
Yep, it's a very, very good option if you want to go for first pick, a very safe pick. But for Onic, CW, you would usually expect for most of the teams here to go for the carry, but Onic, they choose to go for the Claude instead, something that actually doesn't do too well against that super prio carry, but has kind of the same playstyle in a way, where it's very hard for you to lose lane. You don't want to win lane either. All you want to do is just go equal with the enemy gold laner. I think it's a very good pick for CW, and they pick up an Arlet that's as flexible as a Ruby.
I feel like it depends on who they chose as their gold laner, right? Because I think if Albert was playing, I would expect carry a little bit more. The reason behind this is because of their different gameplays, right? With CW and Albert a little bit more aggressive. I think carry suits him a little bit more of a risk taker as compared to CW. And with Claude, I think it fits his playstyle a bit more. But here, Geek have opted to take the carry as it was left open. Now, a lot of people have argued that carry is one of the best laners in the gold lane. Do you agree with this?
I think it's definitely strong, and it's definitely a lot safer than a lot of other options. The fact is that when your gold laner can build in a tanky fashion, that means that he can also stay in the fight in more dangerous areas, and in turn, ironically enough, output more damage. And you talked about Albert maybe picking up this carry if he was here. Well, Chidera is a gold laner that's very dominant, very aggressive, and he loves taking risks. And I do believe that the carry will be such a great fit in the situation. And with the assistance of a Ruby and a Faramis, it's going to be very tough to reach him. But Onic, they go for that Fredrin pick, and most likely it's going in the jungle. We've covered that already in day number 1.
Jungle?
Most likely.
Because Arlet. Oh no, but Arlet can still be flexed.
Yeah, but the Fredrin, I think at this point, it's very unlikely that we'll see him flex. Not really that strong anywhere aside from the jungle. You can still make him work in the XP, but it really relies on the whole team snowballing in the early game. So yeah, independently in the XP, not a good pick.
All right, so we're going to assume that Fredrin is going to go to the hands of Kyrie. So not the assassin jungler that we were expecting here in game number 1 for Onic. As we enter the second phase of the drafts here, the bans are coming in. Baxia gets taken out. Did they expect that Hazel would pick the Baxia up as a jungler?
That must be it, because there's no way they're banning it for any other reason. But I mean, maybe they have done their research and they know that there could be a curveball here. And for Onic, having the Arlet, having the Fredrin, and technically the Claw that has okay sustain later on, the healing reduction is something that they would dislike to have, especially if they're going to be trying to play around the objectives and trying to play for that setup. Because Baxia, being backed up by a Faramis, that is a huge nightmare for them to try and shred down, especially because they do not have the carry in their hands either. So Baxia with 2 lives is definitely something that they decide that they don't want to risk up against.
They might also want to prevent that control of tempo that a Baxia can offer, right? If, again, what we're assuming is correct, that Fredrin is going into the jungle. But Geek here, they're going to respect Sans in the mid lane, take away his Lilia. Because, you know, no one plays the Lilia like he does.
Yes.
He is so aggressive. He dies under the turret. He doesn't care. He goes into the enemy base. But I'm still curious as to what Hazel is going to be picking up. And we get a little bit of a history about Hazel here, the new jungler of Geek Fam. You can see his accolades here. One of the main points was that he was able to win first place at Liga Esports National 2023 right before he was recruited by Geek Fam this season.
Definitely no small achievement. So we'll have to see with the expert ban out by them.
Whoa.
It seems like it's going to be a bit more of a pick-off strategy, but here's a Lapu Lapu. Hang on.
No ban?
Yeah. I don't know if this is an error or if they actually missed out on the ban. If you look behind us, there's a Barats that came through.
Oh, Barats.
So that should be the ban, the Barats, as they pick up the Lapu. Okay, I was just a bit confused there because they went straight to the Lapu. Was expecting a ban first, but yeah, I don't know if we can confirm this yet because behind us, ladies and gentlemen, we see the Barats. On screen, we do not.
Well, going back to the drafts and compositions though, the Lapu Lapu, Fredrin, and Arlet, a very heavy fighter-heavy composition right here. It doesn't usually do well against a Ruby and a Faramis, so the fact that they're picking all this up into what is kind of your counter leads you to believe that they have something special going on for the mid lane. Because you know the Vexana is still not on the map. You have to wonder if Onic will be picking that up. The Grok and the Marcus though, already trying to counter all the crowd control, all their stuns, all the knockups with the crowd control immunity. So now they have good front line with crowd control immunity, and they have crowd control of their own. But true damage is what Onic wants.
So that's it. That's it. That's why, right? You were talking about this fighter-heavy composition. Gord needs that. Gord needs really good frontline to be able to cover him, as Gord will be in the back lines to dish out that damage.
Yeah, it's just something, it's an Onic special at this point, right? You expect all these meta picks, you expect maybe a Vexana, all the Lilia early on, the Faramis as well, but Onic saying, no, it's okay. We have our own hero pool, and they have shown him. Just recently, the previous tournament, Sans played the Gord when nobody was expecting Gord. We expected Gord maybe at M5, but now in this meta, it's really hard to pull out the Gord knowing how chaotic the team fights, the skirmishes are. Onic can still do it though. They show that they can do it. Let's see if they can do it here in MPL Indonesia.
That's the question. This is going to be the debut of Gord as well. No one has dared to pick him up. But of course, Onic, the Sky Kings, they think otherwise. We'll see if it works out for them, ladies and gentlemen, as we get into the Land of Dawn for game number 1 in this best of 3 series, the rematch of MPL ID's Season 12 Grand Finals, Geek Fam and Onic.
Man, it's gonna be a tough one. For Onic, I think the idea is, you know, against a Faramis, you want good AoE damage that can just output and burst down every single one of those HP bars. Since Lilia isn't available, Gord kind of makes sense on paper, but it's gonna be so difficult with so much aggression, so many dive potential from Geek Fam, and you're seeing a boy, you know, on his signature Faramis. He's definitely gonna be a bit crafty with the NetherRealm timings.
Definitely here. Beloyski still being that oppressive force, trying to give information onto Kyrie's whereabouts as well as try to hinder his movements. But you see that Onic, they might retaliate here. Beloyski already half health.
Yeah. Still able to escape. Luke is able to secure a little bit of that XP, but gets chunked very, very low. Not the best of trades for Luke, and Onic are looking very good already early on. CW in this lane against the carry. We mentioned it in the draft. It's not the best lane for the Claude. It's already a dive attempt right now. Hazel's just hovering over. CW still waiting right there. He's super low. Hazel just needs to tap one button, and the battle mirror image brings Hazel back. He finds the kill back. Not bad at all, the trade. Jungle for goal lane early on.
Great play by CW to at least make an even trade. But look at his trading potential from the carry. He still regens so much HP, and that's the bullying potential, man. You trade a couple of hits, but he disengages while hitting you, because the skill, the dash, actually comes with a basic attack component, and that is a lot of issues for CW.
That's what I was worried about. That's what I was worried about when Claude was picked up first thing in the morning, right? In the morning of the drafting phase. This CW is notorious. Oh, wait a minute. Top side.
1 HP on Boots. One more shot. A boy finds it. Boots has fallen to 2 side lanes, and Onic lose onto the setup for the first turtle. Geek Fam, they collapse onto the turtle. Into the turtle pit they go, and with Hazel dying earlier, you would have expected that Onic maybe will have a better chance at this. Geek Fam say no, though. They have that better mid control, and they'll utilize it.
That's 2 lanes faltering into the hands of Geek Fam. right? Because honestly, at the beginning when I saw the gold lane, I was like, all right, that's fine. CW thrives on losing lanes, right? He's okay, he's good. He's like that type of player that you don't kind of look at for the rest of the game, and then suddenly in the late game or in the mid to late game, he suddenly pops off. But with the EXP lane also losing out, mid lane kind of shaky here for Onic. It looks like they're losing their control here in the early game. What's going on?
It just seems like they're lacking the initiative, right? Usually, I was about to say that with an Arlet, with a Fredrin, right? These are very strong fighters in the early game. Good damage, good sustain as well. On paper, at least, this kind of composition should really be stomping in the early game, and Geek should be the one avoiding all those fights. But with the winning lanes, with the pressure in the mid lane as well, that they seem to be having very rarely against Sans, right? They've been able to really take advantage of the momentum and get the first turtle, despite the fact that they shouldn't really be winning.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue that topic with Arashi, we are undergoing some troubleshooting. We will take a little bit of time to make sure that the players can play at their utmost potential. Fair play is our utmost priority, so we will give them some time. But do you have any, notes on what Arashi mentioned earlier?
Not really. I'm just really confused as to what happened there in the XP lane. Like these very small mistakes, small miscalculations, but that are leading up to very, very fatal errors for Onic. I think it's been happening quite a bit actually, just recently in the previous tournament as well. A lot of miscalculations in that XP lane for Boots, unfortunately. And they gave up the early advantage. Like, this is super early on. They need the Gord to scale. If the top side of the map doesn't prevail, they also have a weak side gold laner. They might have to like push this all the way back. So Geek Fam Snowball is getting very scary with the Martis on 2 kills and a turtle.
Yeah, and in the mid lane as well, usually you see Sans being the aggressor. I mean, we were talking about how he dives turrets and gets that prio for his team, participates in the fights, but a boy has been roaming a lot more often, and this is because of the backup, right? It seems like there's a lot of priority on the hands of Geek Fam to try and make sure that Sans doesn't get to make the plays that he usually does. Because it's no secret for Onic that Sans is one of the main playmakers that always shows up in unexpected spots to really swing the balance in his team's favor.
That's why I thought that maybe that was one of the reasons why Geek eliminated Lilia in the banning phase, right? Because with Lilia, you can be a little bit more flexible in the early game. There's still damage, even though it's still early. And then you're a lot more versatile in team fights. You can play a little bit more aggressively, especially when you hit level 4. But for a hero like Gord, for example, I think it's a little bit more reliant. Not as flexible, much more vulnerable than the Lilia. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that same. I agree with that. I feel like they should have picked up the Lilia first over the Fredrin in the first phase to be able to hold on to that mid prio if they were really trying to help the gold lane scale. They did first pick the Claude, so they already had in mind a weak side gold laner. You'd expect more prio in the mid lane to cover up for that weak side gold laner. The fact that they picked up the Fredrin means that they also want to contest their neutral objectives. They want to try to control the early to mid, maybe hold them back. So just a bit of contrast there with the Gord and then the Fredrin, right? Because now we're getting into a very tough spot. We don't really see Onic in this position a lot, maybe against AP Bren. That's the only time where we actually do see that happen. Early game controlled by the opposing team. It is a different team though that is playing. I don't know if, are there concerns of synergy with Albert in the roster previously, and now it's CW again? Are there problems there?
There's definitely a factor, I believe. Because, usually, we were just mentioning it earlier in the introductions, right? Onic is a team that's always so calculative, so cleanly performing. It's even shown in the stats in the team head-to-head. But you can see that when it comes to the setup here right now, the turtle's up, they go straight for it without really securing the side lane prio first with a gank or something. And that is something that we don't usually see from Onic. So you do wonder what exactly is going on.
Let's see what will go on as a Marshall brings us back into the game. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at minute number 3, and still Chidera is pressuring CW, really just dominating. Is he gonna go? Is he gonna fall here? Bloiski's there.
Oh, one more. Blazing Duet, he pops it in. Has a Purify as well. Beloyski's not able to find any more damage. Final slash from Keyboy. Good retaliation, good answer back at CW. 2 times now he's been able to outplay a very, very bad spot away. Kyrie walks up, gets a taunt done. Beloyski has the path around the wall that he placed down, and Keyboy takes him out.
They definitely overstayed their welcome right there. But showing again that's just such a tough lane, especially because Carry's basic attacks actually fly so slowly that Chidera is doing a good job just harassing CW under his own turret. But now you're looking at Onic with a strong mid lane power spike here, with the Gord having the ultimate, having 1 or 2 items. This means that they have the burst potential to take out anyone who is not protected by a boy with the Faramis.
In terms of emblems, does anything stand out to you here? It feels quite standard. Chidera with his build, Luke as well, Hazel, Beloyski.
Well, there's a quantum charge for Keyboy, which usually we don't quite see on a aggressive roam Arlet, but he's going for a bit more movement speed because he knows there's a lot of...
Oh! 2-man, I'm offended. Beloyski was able to steal away the orange, but Boots finds the stun, finds the steal onto the turtle. Kyrie walks back, a wild charge to re-engage in his team, but as Keyboy jumps in with a vengeance, but gets caught in the decimate. And now with the reset, Sans has been walled away for the team. One big smack away, and Luke with a slash of his scythe and a flicker out to safety. With the Don't Run Wolf King, Kyrie not able to fully chase. Boots is waiting on that cooldown. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, ZW with a fully popped in Blazing Duet onto Chidera is still unable to finish this carry off.
And Onyx like, you were saying?
You were saying?
You were saying? I mean, we were talking about Boots in that EXP lane, going to be able to get that away, but here's CW.
3-man gank, the barrier, and the pin down with a Mortal Coil to give a boy a kill. 6-5 now. Keyboy is trying to hold that gold minion so that it doesn't get cleared out. 6-5, and still 1,000 gold lead for Geek.
Again, as I was saying, right? I was really going to just, you know, prop up Onic, and then
Geek's like,
you were saying again, Eterna. But yeah, Boots with that steal in the turtle lane. I think that shift in momentum was great for them, but Geek still hold on to that gold lead.
It's a great moment for them for sure, especially because we just talked about, oh, maybe some miscalculations coming in from Boots. Well, turns out the man is a mathematical prodigy. But man, this game has a lot of action going on because in the mid game, both teams technically have a lot of power spikes, more damage for the side of Geek, but more crowd control for the side of Onic. There's only a difference in the utility where Geek technically has a bit more of an advantage, only if it's a 5v5 where they can get maximum value out of that Netherrealm.
That's why these Purifies are going to come in very handy here for Geek, especially in these team fights. Earlier on, Chidera was very close, but luckily he still had that Purify, popped it in. It should be up once again as the turtle spawns. With what we saw earlier on in that 5v5, who do you think has the better advantage to get this next objective?
I think the next objective, if Onic can get a really good engage, right? Because they have Keyboy, if they can get everyone together and combo it with Sans, that could be the winning solution. But Geek is definitely going to try and spread apart and try and counter that kind of game plan, even though that means some members are not protected by the Netherrealm.
I'm offended onto Keyboy. The main initiator right now is going to be CC, but Boots and Kyrie follows through as well. Good Netherrealm. CW pops in a Blazing Duet to try to disintegrate it. A boy gets caught in the Appraiser's Wrath. And even in the back, Luke tries to sustain back up. Hazel with an amazing retribution on the Martis. Might have just equalized this trade, and the boy is back up. He had his stacks all stacked up to respawn instantly.
And that's a 2K gold lead now for Geek fam. And I think that's an important thing to note was that Hazel was already 2 levels ahead of Kyrie. So in terms of that 50-50 chance, it did favor Geek fam. But we're going to head into a short pause, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of troubleshooting to do between both of these teams. How do you think things are going?
I think things are going great for...
Fantastic
for Geek fam in particular, man. They've been able to just outmaneuver and outplay a lot of these strats, a lot of these play from the books of Onic that usually teams kind of struggle against. Even when Onic do make changes, like I said, they're going to try and maybe surprise Geek, and they did. And they went for almost like a pick-off to really bait out a fight, and then with their survivability, they're able to just re-engage afterwards. And still, they kept their cool. They know that a boy, okay, we can let a boy get taken out. He's back because of the passive, and they focus on the turtle, and they still get it, and they're able to escape with minimal losses, despite the fact that Onic definitely wanted to make it a bit more costly for them to get that kind of advantage.
I agree. And I think that's why the Faramis was such a good addition to the composition that Geek Fam brought in this game, because when we look at the composition that Onic brought, right, we have Claude, Arlet, Fredrin, Lapu Lapu, and Gord. What do all these heroes have in common? They're all dependent, right? They're skill dependent. So if the Faramis can bait all these resources enough for Geek Fam to re-engage after they waste those resources, then it's a better time for Geek Fam in these team fights.
Yeah, I think also, shoutouts to Hazel. What the heck? Just out red treat Kyrie flat out. We were talking about setup. That setup was better for Onic. They had the kill advantage, 4v5. Sure, Hazel did have a level advantage, but still, it's very impressive. On a Martis, compared to a Fredrin, you'd expect the Fredrin to have a bit more of a chance, a higher probability to actually make that 50-50 red tree steal. Hazel's looking really good.
I think not for
Much
Onic.
better than Ray.
Ooh. Well, I think the concern right now for Onic is to try and get some momentum and try and end the game before it gets way, way late. I mean, in the late game, they will have an AoE advantage. They have that Gord with magical AoE, and they have the Claw that, in a way, scales better than a tank build carry, right? Can build full damage instead of the semi-tank the carry usually does go for. So in the late game, I feel like Geek definitely have the staying power, right, with the Netherrealm, and Onic will be reliant, like you said, on the ultimates, on the pick-off potential, which at this point is going to be so easy for Geek to counter.
Ooh, what's this? Fun fact, second pick as a key to Geek and Onic's victory. FF. Onic and Geek Fam emerge as the teams with the highest win rate on second pick in MPL ID's Season 12.
Ooh, wow.
Onic with a win rate of 72%, Geek 69%.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
By securing the second pick, both Onic and Geek can safely secure hero combinations and make surprises last picks that cannot be responded to by their opponents. So let's second pick this. Onic, right?
Onic.
So,
I mean,
we'll see.
to be fair, that was Season 12, right? Recently, previous tournament, blue side had a higher win rate overall, and even for Onic.
Interesting.
So, different metas, I would say, right? Because the red side, most teams had a higher win rate last in Season 12. Red side.
Right, they just have higher because they have been winning. That's why they were the representatives of the country. You know,
That's true.
You know what,
That's
that makes
they're
sense.
higher than the other ones that win more on red side too, but this one is a bit higher. Maybe the others are like 60%. This is 69. Get it? Because they made it to M5.
Right, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's almost like it's
But it's also
survivorship
kind of like
bias.
Yeb's specialty, man. Red
Second
side.
pick.
He just
Right.
always wants red side. He wants to have first pick and last pick in the first phase and first pick in the second.
Ooh, let's see what you have to
Ooh.
say, though. If I
The
could
GOAT.
import one player, I would choose Sans.
Wow.
Because he plays very
As a
well
mid
in
laner
the mid
himself.
lane. I can learn a lot from him. That's
As a mid lane GOAT.
that's why. That's
He's the
so,
GOAT,
that's
that's
so
respect.
humble.
Yeah, this guy's always been a classy dude, you know? He's just class.
That's
like-
how you get good.
I'm
That's how
not
you
even
become a
like
GOAT.
Mythic Glory mid lane, and I'm like saying that Sans learned from me. But
Yeah.
I guess
That's the difference, right? The,
The
actual
difference
GOAT
in
and a, and a
And literal
random mid
GOAT.
laner.
But yeah,
Ow.
I mean, paying respect to your opponents is part of the growing, learning experience, and I think that's why Few is one of the GOATs, right? You can't, if you are delusional, the GOAT, right? Because if you're delusional and you say like, oh no way, I'm better than everyone every single time, even when
Exactly.
someone is better, how are you gonna learn? How are you gonna evolve?
Few, he definitely learned from Kendrick Lamar. You know?
Ooh.
You know that song?
Oh, he sat down?
DNA?
Oh,
what's the song?
DNA. I got royalty. Yeah. Because. No, I was trying to meme humble, but
I mean,
you know,
there you go,
DNA,
ladies and
funny.
gentlemen. We
DNA
nearly
funny.
heard. Oh, I was gonna say rap on stream, but like you rap every day, bro. What am I talking about?
I don't rap.
You're play-by-play.
Oh, you mean like
Right?
say things very
Yeah.
fast? I thought like
He's
rapping
play-by-play
gifts.
every single day.
Yeah, I don't rap. I don't rap
Miracle
gifts.
doesn't
I-
give gifts, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
That's why he's the richest caster. He's stingy.
that might be it. Actually, you know, like I'll take that. Actually, I am very stingy.
It's all in the wording, man. Is he stingy or is he thrifty? Or is
Oh.
he economical?
Oh,
Words have power.
Shout out to my idol, Jaden Smith. Let's talk about the economical and the political state of the world. Anyways, let's talk about Onic.
since they're treble winners in MPL ID Season 12, Onic has become the team with the most MPL Indonesia trophies with a total of 5. Drian has 6. apparently.
Ooh. Yeah, right? Yesterday, that's why I was confused. I was like, wait, 6? And Gunny's like, yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll believe the Onic fan. So he doesn't know his trophies. Arsenal fans, you know, can never
Hey.
you can never count on them to count
Arsenal's
trophies.
still top 3. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, since when do you follow football, Eterna?
Because Gani does.
I see.
Welcome to the English podcast, by the way.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
You were entertained yesterday.
Very.
And now you're
We
with
got
us.
to see realize.
No eyes.
We got to see realizes, real eyes, realize, real lies.
What's
Yes,
the
sir.
last realize?
Lies, like
Lies.
bohong.
Oh, okay.
Real deception, real lies.
Oh, but you know,
Why is
That's a
he
great
blushing?
during these pauses, we always have to give you guys the best. And our cameraman knows. For the ladies watching, or everyone watching, here's the timing. Here's Hazel.
It's Hazel, the
That's
man who
also
just
the best.
out retweet Kyrie.
Yes, that's true.
He was 2 levels
Doesn't matter, still counts.
above.
Still
He
counts.
was 2
It
levels?
was 2.
2?
Kyrie was still 8.
That's
and then
still-
he
that's
was
still a-
10. And then after Turtle, Kyrie became 9.
But he still outfarmed him then.
That's why. That's the impressive part.
Still counts. Well, let's get straight back into the land of Dawn.
Are we
though,
going in?
finally, let's take a look.
It's not a hoax? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back into the land of Dawn here for game number 1 in this best of 3 series. 8 minutes has elapsed, but look at Geek Fam.
Conceal play, CW battling their image into the blazing duet. A good final slash to cancel it out, but the wild charge still will be able to knock CW up. He pops the BMI back, but Luke is too deadly with his side. The beautiful Netherrealm actually saves Hazel right there in that position. Kyrie trying to look for a bit more of a trade here onto Luke. Pokes him a bit, but Luke's a bit too sustainable. He has so much sustain with that Brave Smite on the Ruby, and now a Sea Halberd.
That was a beautiful display of chemistry for both of the teams. CW nearly got taken out earlier on, but the backup coming in from the rest of the team, as well as the backup after that from Geek, a boy Netherrealm. Perfect timing. I like the synergy from Geek Fam. I think that's what a lot of people were afraid of against Onic. Onic, a team that's been together for so long, but Hazel coming in, it feels like a perfect fit.
They're just moving a lot faster and in the right place at the right time before Onic can even react. Although a big problem is that they only have a single source of consistent damage, which is Chidera. Ooh, okay.
There's the
Voice
bait.
It's fine.
just scaring them off. But as I said, man, they have one single source of damage. We saw that Kyrie earlier was taking damage from 3 members, and he's able to somewhat sustain that. That's gonna be gonna become more and more of an issue later on.
I'm offended on the keyboard. 3-man, 4-man final slash, but Hazel holds him back with the Mortal Coil and cuts him out of the team fight and off the land of Dawn with a Decimate.
And that's it. Hazel again with another member in his pocket. 3-2-3 KDA, a level above Kyrie right now. Does Onic really want to contest this and go for that 50-50?
Only 1 level. Kyrie's walking up. A good Mystic Gush gets a boy low. Boots. Bravest fighter in the flicker right now, bidding on the Netherrealm as he dives in deep. The Lord actually knocks a member or a few members of Geek Fam. Boots gets a 3-man stun. Kyrie with their brains is pride, not able to connect right now, and he gets melted down before anyone can do anything about the Lord. Hazel's still on it. He's looking for the retreat. He finds it. He gets knocked up. He's 1 HP. And Sans finally is able to deal with this man. But still, it's a win for Geek Fam.
A huge win for Geek Fam. 2 members taken out. They were able to take Kyrie out of the problem completely, out of the equation completely. And of course, Hazel is going to be able to take that Lord uncontested. A 4K gold lead for Geek Fam. But look at this. Luke.
Gosh, and the flicker as well.
Solo play from Sans. Kind of equalizing, but at the same time now, the Lord spawns, the waves are going to be empowered. This is where Geek wanted to try and control the waves as good as possible. They did great. That's part of why they were able to get to the Lord in more favorable terms. But now with the waves coming in, they can really start to try and siege, despite the lack of high ground, the lack of long-distance poke. To look at the item builds, Chidera is going a lot more aggressively, not even going for the brute force. He thinks he's winning, he wants to go all in, but CW has reached the power spike, right? The 3-item power spike for the Claude. This means that he will do damage, but he needs to be coming in together with his team. They can't go in 1 by 1, because if Onic does that, there's no way they can get enough damage out to try and press someone down, and then twice through the Netherrealm.
That's the problem here, but look at this concealed play from the Geek fan. Where are they going?
All the
Oh,
way on to
Sans.
Sans. No flicker on Sans. Beloyski stunned up. Very good disengage and peel from Keyboy there to stop what looked to be Sans' death in the 11th minute of the game. The rotation all the way from top to bottom, though. Onic has done a very, very good job at clearing out this Lord push and siege.
I don't think any turrets were taken down with that Lord push.
No.
Was it? None.
He just went to try and get Sans, and he just serves away, right? As his hero is designed to, and Boost now going into for the clear again. They might find something, but no, they back away and try and stabilize. A weird moment there for Geek to try and chase instead of pressure Onic, instead of pulling them towards a turret maybe to, you know, force them to defend it. He just went on and just started trying to hunt for kills.
Yeah, that was value for Onic though in the defense. They are going to lose this mid-side turret, but that's like the best case scenario for Onic. They understand that Sans is one of the main core damage dealers, especially with that new item he picked up over there. And that's what they went for.
Final flash actually brings Luke back to the Mystic Gush. Another realm popped in fear of a full commitment from Onic. A good disengage from Geek fam. Looked very scary. Kyrie dashing forward, gets a taunt onto Beloyski. A wild charge defensively. Ooh. And now shredded down by CW. Blazing duet with the battle mirror image as well. Beloyski forced to flick around with the conceal now. Keyboy still hovering over, looking for players. Brute slashes a boy, but will be traded back by Hazel with a Decimate. CW is able to siege down that tier 1.
So a boots for a tower, essentially.
And a boy.
And a boy.
But a boy comes back a lot faster, but now you can see that they have momentum here. But Geek doesn't even care. They just rush straight for the Lord. Can they force another fight right here, right now? As CW tries to rotate in, and he might not make it in time.
Kyrie's 13.
He is walking up. Luke very, very low. Kyrie with a retribution! That's what we've been expecting from the man, and he does it. He comes in on time. Unlike the Avatar, when the world needed him most, he actually appeared.
When the moment gets tough,
sorry.
that's where he delivers.
That caught me off guard. But I agree. I mean, right before that even begun, I mentioned Kyrie was level 13, 2 levels behind of Hazel, but was still able to get that retribution, steal it under the nose of Geek fam, and that is Onic coming back with the momentum swing. Notice Geek fam's goal.
It's already fallen behind from Onic.
Exactly.
And if you look at it, right, they didn't manage the waves at all before they rushed straight for that Lord, trying to force that play. So now Onic, they're getting a lot of value here. They might even get a base turret. They're waiting for it, and they have better siege due to that gourd. This is where now this pick starts shining through.
Lord with a big charge into the base turret. Onic looking for that siege. One more hit with the Lord, and they are going to be able to secure the top lane of base turret. Now looking for more. A boy doing a good job at micromanaging the wave in the mid lane, clearing it out, and I'm offended as well from Luke. And they will only lose one base turret for now. Another minion wave will be spawning. Can Onic actually get more from this?
The question is, do they want to? You can see Onic going to rotate to get that buff away from Hazel. Kyrie's actually going to get it, so Hazel doesn't have his orange buff just yet.
Ooh, another taunt in, and my goodness, Luke flickered out of the Nether Realm that a boy had placed out to save him, and he loses his life because he's off position to save Luke. Oh my god, a disaster for Geek fam. Onic now looking for even more to punish.
Just one mistake. Just one mistake gives Geek fam another problem here. One inhibitor taken down, one left standing. So even if Onic don't end it here and now, they are gonna have the advantage in it, but let's go.
Final slash, purified in, Keyboy still able to sustain just a bit. CW having a good time free hitting that turret with the help of these frontliners. Sans with a Mystic Gush over to a boy. And we do have a pause again. Apologies for the inconvenience, ladies and gentlemen. Please do be patient with us for now. We're still going to have to see how this game plays out.
We could use a break. We could use a break.
You could hear the audience like, oh,
yeah.
Because we're getting to the good part. Will Onic end it right here, right now, or will they have to wait for the next Lord?
I think they will wait for the next Lord because, you know, Geek, some might not remember, but they have a reputation for being able to turtle and defend the base like the best.
Yeah.
Right? I think last season there were multiple matches where they just like held on and like dragged the game out to the late game. But man, that fight right there is why sometimes the synergy can backfire on you. The fact that they have such a good combination, such a good setup with the Netherrealm, with solutions to the threats, the moment that Onic makes a play out of nowhere and it surprises them, you can see that not everyone is on the same page at the right time, and that really cost them.
Yeah, Luke wasn't ready for that flicker out. That was unfortunate, man.
That was super unfortunate, dude. The flicker out, and a boy's probably like, dude, I'm here because of you. Why are you leaving me, man?
And then he gets taken out as well.
Exactly. That's why it's like, oh, man.
Man.
That was really unfortunate. As Wolf would say, nah, never mind.
Why?
I was thinking of something else he said. Because, like, we were talking about Brusco in the previous tournament.
Oh, I thought it was the Japan one.
It was like Brusgoat. So I wanted to rhyme like Luke with Luke Goat. Oh, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, Luke Goat. Luke Goat. Luke Goat.
I don't know. Gluck still sticks with me.
Gluck, yeah, but
I'm sorry.
unfortunately,
I know. But
look at this.
the match against Geek is Onic's first match in
that's
MPL
true.
Indonesia history without Kage on the roster. Drian.
Damn.
Drian was
Did
the
he
last
even
Kage.
play?
Yeah, he didn't play, but he was in the roster, right? In the
Okay.
roster, in the
I don't know
roster.
how it affects, but all right, guys.
It still
I'm sorry.
counts, man. I mean,
I mean, he didn't
it's
play.
history. It's
Yeah.
history, right?
But you know, you want to know a fun fact?
Okay.
He was the last Kage in Onic because he was literally the last Kage
Yeah.
who was still in Onic. Now
Yeah.
he's still the last Kage because he's the last Kage in Indonesia still playing.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you're right.
Anti-Mage's not playing, Psycho's not playing,
Udil.
Sasa's in Malaysia, Udil's in Malaysia, so
my
he's still the
God.
last Kage
The last Kage in country.
in country.
That's crazy.
Oh,
By
you're
process
right.
of elimination.
That's crazy.
Right? He chose the right time to move. It's like Udil goes to Malaysia. Hey, I'm still gonna be the last Kage if I move.
And he's on his upward mark, dude.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Dewa United. Give him a chance to play, and that's what he shows.
That's very unexpected. I'll be frank and say that I wasn't expecting too much
From Drian.
after game one. Like, my bad, my bad, my bad.
After a
it's
lethal
fair.
ignition, full Chad Cho.
That was crazy.
And it's fair, right? Because you'd think that he'd be a little bit at least rusty. I mean, he hasn't been on the competitive scene for so long. He's played like once or twice, but not to the extent that all these other players are playing. And then he suddenly rocks up to Dewa United and it's like, I'm no longer a porcupine. I'm a son of God.
Yes, sir.
I'm an apostle.
I'm an apostle.
Well, I mean, to be fair, right? We're talking about him, thinking about like him being a bench player, but he was benched with Sans and Keyboy on the team. I mean, come on. How is, you know, like,
It ain't fair.
tough competition in that roster, man.
Oof, man. You have to appreciate his game sense as well, though, right? Because usually mechanics, you know, you're still playing around casually. You can still maintain your mechanics, but the game awareness, right? The map awareness, the knowledge, the instincts, especially in pro play, it's so different than when you're playing ranked. So I feel like the fact that he was still able to find moments, be accurate, despite all that, despite all the long layoff, that is absolutely impressive. But we should focus
Yeah.
back onto the match at
I
hand.
was about to say, I think we flew a little bit too far.
Let's sidetracked.
you
It
know,
was the dynamic lower third, right?
I know,
Kage.
right? It's not our fault.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's
You
the.
know that we get easily distracted.
This is. You know, usually like talk shows are like late night with English Desk, but I was about to say late night, but it's 3:59 p.m. in Indo.
It could be for someone else on the other side of the world.
Afternoon talks.
Well, late night talks usually are like the most fun, though.
Exactly. And we'll have that later if there's a pause.
Ooh.
Again.
Possible?
Season
Possible?
12 MPL alone, Season 13 MPL days.
Yo!
When is your turn, Arashi?
Oh, that's
I have no idea.
Right? Mirko, check. Eterna, check.
Yeah,
Gani,
true.
check.
That's true. Gani, check.
Arashi?
Realize. Chef and check. Realize, check. Now it's just
Oh,
Arashi.
you're right. Even realize
Even
check.
realize.
It's the last
Just you,
caster.
Arashi.
It's the last caster.
The
The
last
last
caster. Well, I guess that's why he was talking about Trian a lot.
He's
What?
talking about what?
What?
He was talking about Trian.
Hold up.
Okay.
Hold
okay.
up.
No, I mean not like that. Okay, you know what? Let's just take a look at this. Geek
Right.
and Onic head to head in terms of their competition. They brought game number 1.
Right. So let's take a look at the counter index. Geek has an advantage there. We were talking about this where they have more winning lanes technically, they have more synergy,
Yeah.
and they have more ways to counter the opposition. But unfortunately for them, right now, the game isn't always, you say it's not played on paper, but just because you can counter it doesn't mean that you will counter it correctly, on time, and like with proper synergy, right? That's where the game gets really fun because you might not win in the drafting phase, you might not win in synergy, but through strategy, through movements in the Land of Dawn, you can find windows of opportunity and capitalize the way Onic just did.
It's like Evos.
Whoa.
Evos Glory against Alter Ego. I think that was the first day, the opening match. It was Evos with the better index, but Alter Ego just kept winning.
Yeah.
You know, it's an example.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing shade. It's an example.
It's an example. No, the reason I'm smiling is because if I remember correctly, I think all the positive lineup ratings have lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But this game, I actually think, yeah, I mean, this one might be accurate, like in my opinion, because Geek Fam do have a lot of winning lanes, and it's a solid lineup. But for the most part, yeah, it has actually been not the best rating system to use to determine who's going to win. Maybe
Right.
because it's more of an execution battle over the draft now.
I agree. I think I would say that is
But for the Alter
absolutely
Ego
the
match,
case.
I disagree with the index. It was Joy Angela and a Nolan Harith come in like... That one's just inaccurate.
That's just a tough one. But look at the stats though, talking about inaccuracies. It says that Onyx lineup has the better late game potential, and I have mentioned it already. They do have the Gourd, they do have the Claude. So now, in the late game potential, it's all about the Netherrealm and how they utilize it. If they get it good, they can win.
That's if we even get to the late game, Arashi.
think we're
So
there.
let's jump into the Land of Dawn here. Oh, what happened? Okay, so they're going straight for the Lord take here.
Oh my god, melted down, wild charge, battle mirror image, and even the Mystic Gush, forcing Beloy to flicker out to safety. No wild charge, but also no Mystic Gush for Sans. Big damage out of the fray. Hazel, Mortal Coil, Final Slash, bringing Luke back to the back. I'm offended. Oh, he is able to find Sans in the back and now forces him to flicker out. Chidera finds Keyboy. Kyrie's still able to find the Retribution, but the boy shuts Sans down in the back. 3v5. Luke looking for the flag right now as Kyrie's still able to dash out, but that's going to be it. Brought back to the team, but only to get on the Prazer's Wrath. Onto the Fairness. Another I'm offended on the CW, who's still going to be able to pop the Purify to back away again with
Lord.
the BMI. The Lord is spawned, and it is marching slowly into the mid lane. Hazel is trying to stop Onic for stopping the recalls. Luke, don't run Wolfgang Brave and Spider to slash him out. Beloyski, a good barrier in place. Chidera has already walked all the way back, and the boy has recalled as well. Luke, somehow, some way, able to walk out and run away from those three members, and Geek Fam come out, still able to defend.
That was too close for my comfort. I understand what Geek Fam were trying to do. They were trying to get Onic off the board,
Wow.
clear the Lord, and then maybe go for a straight push. But Onic was able to extend the amount of time, and actually, that was nearly chaos and disaster for Geek Fam.
Plays into wet, another round coming down though. Boots very, very low. Luke still able to sustain quite a bit right now. Shadera is actually going to be free hitting. Appraiser's Wrath onto 3. Kyrie still surviving, but it's a flicker forward into the Mystic Gush of Sans. Double kill picked up for the man as Beloyski now loses his immortality, pops into conceal. Hazel and Shadera still micromanaging the waves. Now another wave coming down. CW's free hitting in the back. Beloyski is trying his best to stop this from happening, but CW stays targeted. And this is your winning moment presented to you by Samsung Galaxy S24 Series 5G. Onic with Game 1 comeback.